opportunity, before I say anything else, to just thank Javi so much now, actually, for everything he's done to get I will say thank you again to him tomorrow, but I just think he's done so remarkably well. We haven't known for the whole year whether this is going to be in person or digital, so we always had that uncertainty. And since we've been here, I know that Javi's had to make several changes to the conference because of because of COVID. So I just thank him so much for all the hard work he's done. And I appreciate that you appreciate the fact that sometimes things have not been quite to timetable, but we've also been dealing with the hottest time, of course, even in Barcelona, so well done. Thank you. Thanks again. Lovely. Okay, everyone, I just wanted to just briefly talk about ALM. Okay, so, yeah, please. Yeah, thanks. Not gonna, when I said to people, what should I say to people to talk about ALM, they said, oh, you can just say, you don't need to say much, because it's just, everybody's so warm, friendly and supportive and understanding that that's the sort of conference that we are. And we're quite small as well, which is always a nice thing, I think. I've been to some very big conferences where they're really stimulating too, but it's nice to be in a warm, friendly atmosphere. And the other thing is that I think that the presentations that we've had so far have been so inspiring, that we're surrounded by people who are full of really good ideas, fantastic commitment to their work, this working with adults and empowering adults to develop their numeracy skills. I just think it's marvellous. And also I was thinking a little bit about some things that the speakers have said already. And so I reflected back on the aims of the current conference, ALM29. And I looked at all those important things that we're doing here. And it's not thinking about numeracy, not just now, but in the future. And obviously the speakers, I'm going to take this off for a second. Is that all right? It's so hot behind here. Is it there? It's better. Okay. So thinking about what numeracy is now, but also what it means for the future, most importantly for the future. And we're all aware, incredibly aware of the social impact of what those numeracy practices have in all the different contexts we work in and in all those different formats that we develop and deliver numeracy in. So I just think it's marvellous to be able to listen to all those different experiences. And within those different experiences, we all have a variety of educational practices, but that are underpinned by some very common values and norms about the need to put the learner at the centre and to listen to adults and recognise their strengths, work from their strengths rather than recognising their weaknesses. But the brilliant thing too, I think, in terms of our organisation is that there's fantastic communication between and across people. So I think that's one of the things that attracted me to ALM in the first place, was that supportive communication that you have and the open sharing of all the expertise. So we have a fantastic dialogue within the organisation. And we've been thinking, considering that sort of what the impact of numeracy is and on critical thinking and how we can utilise that numeracy within people's lives for a very long time. In actual fact, the organisation way before me, this is our 29th year. I'm not quite, I should have this on view, shouldn't I? Sorry about this, people. I've got an apple and it's all so different from this, so that's it. So I just quickly looked at that building 21st century skills, because I think those are really interesting in terms of where we're supposed to be going, and it's certainly affecting education in the UK, I'm not sure of elsewhere. And so there's all these ideas about critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, creativity, and involving digital literacy. All those things that we're supposed to be now thinking about within our mathematics and numeracy lessons, because we're preparing people for the future. And we don't know what the jobs are, but we know that the thinking is that these will be the sort of skills that people will need to enable them to get new jobs. And I look back at our aims for today. Javi, sorry, can you just put me on view here so I can just press the thing? Sorry, I'm not used to this. I do It's on the
bottom.
I think we're all Mac users.
Ah, yeah, thank you. Thanks. Right, okay. Yeah. That's doing something else now. The joys of technology. Okay, I'll just leave that. Oh, you've got that. I've got a different view again. Right. So, and I thought all of those 21st century skills, they underpin, I looked at the first one and I thought, well, they underpin everything we're thinking about there about numeracy in the future. All of those issues are things that we don't just think about with our students, we do it amongst ourselves. We're always collaborating. You think as creatively as you can in order to enable that learning to take place. And we're often talking about problem solving rather than just simply solving analog problems. And then I looked down the list and I thought, actually, this underpins everything that ALM does. So I thought, actually, we're already ahead of the curve on this one. So I was sort of pleased on that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's so irritating, this is. I know it is. I should have practiced with this. Right. So I had a look at what the OECD was saying. Now, I know that from what Paula said yesterday, that I recognise that the OECD is part of the capitalist system, and that it's looking at people in terms of the economic influence of the future. But I thought what was really interesting was the fact that they've come up with this this image of what we currently do, which is like the idea of we teach content and then we assess it, and that's what mathematics does, which seems very simple, but it's one way of looking at what I think when you look at the sort of the conventional normal curriculum, that's what they're thinking of. But they come up with this new idea, and they say this is what we need for the future. So we don't just need the learning in the core subjects, including maths, by the way, and the 21st century themes. We want that innovation. We've got to be able to use technology, and people have got to have life skills. And this is the skills framework they're suggesting for the future. And then when I kept looking at this, I kept thinking, this reminds me of something else. And it reminds me of this, the work that Javi and Case have already done on the European Common Numeracy Framework. I thought it's already got all those things that the OECD was already talking about, with content, the cognitive processes that we're talking about, and the context in which we're working. All of them relate back to what they identify as the 21st century skills. But the one thing they don't talk about much, which we do a lot, and that is dispositions, because we also talk about the people who are learning, how they are involved, where they come from, what they're doing, and what that learning maths means to them. So I think we're sort of still ahead of the curve, really, in terms of that. Anyway, that was my thinking about, that's part of my commitment to ALM, because that's what I think all of you, bring to the table, to these conferences and to the seminars that we have. So I'm really delighted, actually, that thinking about what has been said, recognising the limitations of the systems that we work in, that we're still pushing ahead, and we're still aware of all the issues that some of the larger organisations are only just recognising. Okay. Right. Sorry. So I just wanted to just briefly think about ALM, okay? And I'm thinking about our website. As an organisation, I'm sure you already know, but we're very small in terms, we're a small organisation, but we have got this strength in that we're spread across a range of countries. But we do exist on volunteers. We haven't got enough money to actually employ anybody to look after anything. So although the website is one of our dreams to develop more, it's also, as we recognise, it can be a bit clunky sometimes, because that's just the way it is, because we're working with volunteers. Everybody who's a trustee working on this here also has a full-time job, full-time caring responsibilities, has a life as well. So we do the best we can, but I'm very proud of what we've done, and I think it's a real honour to actually be chairing this organisation. But I just wanted to draw your attention to a couple of things which we've done recently, which I think are really tremendous. And I'm so sorry that Case Hoogland couldn't be with us here today, but he's got a family bereavement, and that's the way life is. So, but he's very disappointed not to be with us too, because he has been really the backbone of setting this up. And he's set up our YouTube so that the rest of the trustees have been in a virtual seminar group, and they've been putting together all of the different seminars. Marta has contributed to part of our series. And these seminars are all available now through the website on YouTube. And it's something that you might want to consider sometimes if you think that, if you're talking to people who are dealing with particular issues. Because Paola yesterday talked very much about the idea that we should be recognising climate change, and I'm absolutely with her on that. And we did have a session at the last virtual conference on climate change with Professor Chris Budd from the UK, who talks a lot about mathematics and climate change, and actually he's involved with weather forecasting and stuff like that. So he was discussions on the website. But we've also got Marta's work with working with families, and we've got Lena, who can't be with us either this time. Another one of our trustees has talked about mathematics and democracy. So we recognise that we try to put the mathematics into those big global contexts. So please, if you want to use that resource, do use the resource. The other thing I just wanted to say, in terms of just to show how hard the organisation does work, is that you'll see here, I couldn't get all of the places where we've had conferences in, but I started off in #1 at Birmingham in the UK, and that was in '94. Wow. And I know it's tiny, so you probably can't even read it, but these are all on the website anyway. But I just wanted to show what a great history the organisation has got in terms of the number of conferences we've been able to host. And that's thanks not just to current trustees, but to many of our past trustees, who we might have one or two here today, I think. Yes, we've got Kathy Safford sitting at the back, who was one of the initiators of the organisation. I think Kathy, just raise your arm so we can see you. Lovely. Thank you very much for coming. An ex-chair who's been a stalwart. I think you've been to every conference, haven't you, Kathy? I'm sorry. Have you been to every conference? Yes. You have. It's brilliant. And of course we've got David Kay as well. David, and he's another sort of founder member of the organisation. Have I missed anybody? Is anybody else here who I haven't missed? No. Okay. So, and it's down to people like these two people and other colleagues who can't be with us today, who actually established the organisation in the first place and had the idea that ALM was needed. There's a lot of support for what's happening in schools, but we need to support the work that goes on supporting adults. So I'm very pleased to I just wanted to show. So we've done all these conferences. We've produced over 15 volumes of the International Journal, which is peer reviewed, and that's down to a lot of work with Javi and his team as well. So that's great. Javi, do you want to? Oh, they know who you are. And we've got over 50 bulletins that we've produced. And where's Diane? The stalwart of the bulletin producer. Yeah. And Diane will actually be coming around and talking to some of you later on. She's very interested to get some comments of people, particularly if you've attended for the first time, on on the conference and what you've got from it. And we do have the right to edit them as well, just in case. No, she'd be very keen to get any comments. So if she asks you for some, we'd really appreciate those comments. And we've only got one topic group at the moment, but that topic group is essential. It's all about people who learn and work in prisons. So, and I'm sure some of you have already been to the session that was yesterday, and there's some more sessions coming up around that, and that's really key. And we're always ready to think about another topic group. The topic group has got membership from right around the world, but because of the situations they work in, they're often working in very small numbers within their organisations, so it gives them a chance to share practice across the organisations in a secure way. So that's great. So that's I think that's everything I wanted to say to you. Thank you for listening to me. I would just say one more thing. Because we recognise how important it is to develop the digital side of our work as well as the in physical presence. Anybody who's got any time or willingness to support some of the work that goes on with us, I'll be very pleased to hear from them. You don't have to make a huge commitment, but if you've got particular skills that you think the organisation could benefit on and you have a little bit of time to offer it, it would be really appreciated by everybody if you could help us, particularly on the digital side, because obviously that's really important to us, because we learned last year that having a virtual conference, we reached parts and people that we'd never reached before, and enabled people to come to the conference that had never attended anything before. So we realised there's a value there, and we're in discussion about how we manage the physical and the virtual side of our work. Okay, I'm going to stop because it's way time that Marta came and spoke to us about the important work that she's been involved in. So, are you going to, Jamie's going to do an introduction for you, Marta. But thank you very much for listening. And can I just say thank you all for everything that you've done and all the contributions, and thank you particularly for just making the effort to be here, because I know it doesn't matter whether it was a short or long flight, there was usually quite a lot of complications and hanging around for it. So thank you very much. Okay.